Alright. It's time. It's time for more 100 line. Here we go, brother. Man, I will say, I fucking hate Mondays. Like, I wake up on Monday and realize I gotta go to work today, and it's like, man, this shit sucks. At least I got this game to, like, make me smile before it, because honestly, I don't feel like doing anything before going to work. It's so bad. Anyway, today, it's gonna be quite a different session of this game, I would say, because, like I promised last time on 100 line, I would do a PowerPoint presentation for a master theory I've been crafting for a while, and I feel like I needed to, like, get those thoughts out, and I definitely needed to stitch some things together to, like, make it more concise, and so I did, and I do have the PowerPoint presentation here. So before we jump into the game today, we're kind of gonna go through that theory and get those predictions out. And then we'll see if I actually cooked or if I was just a fucking idiot. So yeah, that's kind of gonna be how the session is gonna go today. So let's pull up. Let me just check if this is okay. This is recording. Okay. So let's jump into the PowerPoint here. So this is the introduction, like the title card. The 100 line Last Defense Academy Master Theory by Tavin. Yeah, this is my theory right here. So yeah, okay. So first things first, we gotta go. Hello Zubida, welcome to my stream. We are doing a 100 line stream today, but before we jump into the game, I do have a master theory that I promised the other time. I'm gonna do a PowerPoint presentation of that because I promised that too, and it's quite a long theory, so it might be here for like an hour or two. We might not even play the game, but this is gonna be a very heavy stream for people who haven't been following the entire game. But yeah, hello, thank you for being here. So we have 10 chapters to this theory. We're gonna be going first over the Tokyo residential complex, which I think is it's like at the core of everything. The Tokyo residential complex is the one element of this entire game, of this entire story, that like stitches everything else together. So if we're able to figure out what is up exactly with that, we're able to explain so many things in the grand scheme of the story. So we're gonna go over that first, and then we're gonna go into chapter 2, which talks about the hijacking of the hemoanima research. And yeah, I've been pointing this for a while, but I do believe, based on like Shoma's flashbacks and based on everything we've seen up till now, that the hemoanima was actually something good. It was something meant to like to enhance those like special blooded humans and have them fight world death on the surface or something like that, right? But the fact that like Nigo and Sirei kind of are using hemoanima as well in the Last Defense Academy, it feels like someone hijacked that research and is taking advantage of the powers of hemoanima to like to further their own agenda, basically. So we're definitely going to be going over that. And then chapter 3 is kind of where things get naughty. I feel like chapter 4 is where really the boom of the theory is, which kind of explains a lot of things. But in chapter 3 here, I postulate something that I've been thinking for a while. World Death, the true nature of Sirei and Nigo. Of course, like, one of the things we never questioned too much in this story is why the hell are our commanding officers not human? Why is Sirei and Nigo why are Siri and Ego like puppeteering us? Like, this is just so weird. Like, we never truly questioned that. And I don't think they are invaders per se. I think what is actually happening is that these two are agents of world death. Like, they are the actual like manifestations of world death, and they're like gaslighting us into believing the opposite. That the invaders that we see outside the academy are the true enemy. But we're gonna be like exploring that more when we get to that chapter. In chapter 4, we have humanity's final escape, and I'm not gonna get too much into that. Let's just say that chapter is kind of where things get crazy. In chapter 5, we have the defense room of Doom extermination complete, which is basically one of the things I've been pointing out a lot during the game ever since the beginning when they introduced this concept of the defense room. Siri, Nigo, and well, I guess Nozomi, they have been saying that inside the defense room, there's something that's supposed to save humanity. Whatever the fuck is inside the defense room cannot be possessed by the invaders. We have to protect that because the thing that's there is the last hope of humanity. We need to protect that. However, I don't fully buy that. The fact that they're being so cryptic about what it is, the fact that they don't explain anything to us about that, leads me to the thought that what's actually inside that defense room is some sort of doomsday device or something that will basically purge all the life in this planet and exterminate humanity, and that is the plan. Of course, they're gaslighting us into believing it's something good, but at the end of the day, we're just like protecting that thing until it fully charges, and that takes 100 days, of course, and then when that thing is fully charged, it'll basically exterminate the entire planet. I think that's where we're going with that. And then in chapter 6, we're gonna this is kind of where it gets a little more speculative, because like that's like, I think like chapter 5 is the end of my theory, and then like from the chapters 6 to 10, it's kind of like speculation. Well, 9 and 10 are not speculative too much. They're kind of like just the conclusive parts of the theory. But I would say chapters 6, 7, and 8 are kind of the speculative parts of my theory. Because beyond the 100 days, like, I don't know what's gonna happen beyond the 100 days. Like, we have no idea, because like we don't even know if my theory is right, so there's no way of knowing what will actually happen there. But I will I will kind of lay some predictions for that. In chapter 7, we're gonna go over some of the thematics of this game, which I think are very strong, and yeah, we're gonna be exploring a little bit of that, and basically seeing how that kind of ties into my theories up until this point. And then in chapter 8, which it is the most speculative heavy chapter of everything, I'm kind of going to talk about the things that don't fit into my theory, or the things that I haven't found a proper explanation for, or how to explain them per se. So that's gonna be interesting. So that does it for the summary. Let's jump into the first chapter, Tokyo Residential Complex. This is again one of the most important elements of our story. So like, we need to pick a side here. Like, is the Tokyo Residential Complex real or fake? And the answer to that is yes. Is it real or fake? Yes. That is the answer. So, the TRC is a real place that existed, to which humans retreated so they could shield themselves from world death. According to Altsky, everyone's reports conclude that all students lived in the same TRC. The Tsukumo twins knowing each other being further evidence, but that doesn't mean that they lived in the same TRC from the rest of humanity. Now, this is a very important distinction. We're gonna explore this more in chapter 3. However, I think we've always been under that assumption that, like, the TRC was, like, this giant place that everyone, like, every single descendant of the Japanese lived there for, like, hundreds of years. But ever since, like, Aotsuki said that we all lived in the same TRC, we kind of scratched the idea of there being different TRCs out there. But the really interesting thing about that, and it's hard to explain it now before, like, getting into the stuff in chapter 3, But I will say, it's certainly interesting that like the idea that we might have had different TRCs, because of course like there's the whole memory wiping thing. There's a bunch of elements that are slowly but surely linking us to the thought that we did in fact live in the same TRC. Like Nozomi seems to remember Kamakura General Hospital, and Shoma remembers it as well. Shoma remembers us all being there, and yeah, all of it kind of seems to lead us to that thought, right? So I do believe that the Tokyo Residential Complex was indeed a real place. Like, even when we like read the material in the library, there's a lot of reports about the TRC that do make some amount of sense, and I hardly believe that it's all made up. So I do think it was a real place. However, I'm gonna tunnel down into this a little further in chapter 3 when we get into the nitty-gritty of things, right? But let's keep that in mind for a second. Like, it's possible that they did not live in the same TRC from the rest of humanity. It's kind of like, let's say there's at least 2 TRCs, and the TRC that the students from Last Defense Academy lived in is completely different from the TRC that the rest of humanity lived in, right? Let's keep that in mind. During the prologue, Siri seems to be able to control the TRC, summoning fireworks after Takumi passed the test, right? And we also don't even know what this test was. Like, what exactly was Siri testing Takumi on? I mean, like, we had this choice. We had this choice of whether or not we would save Karawa as Takumi. And if we choose yes, we pass the test. If we choose no, Siri gets pissed off and questions if we're gonna give the game a bad review for it being too short. We're kind of gonna go over that as well in the speculation chapter. But yeah, like, was this test meant to test his subordinates, like his ability to step up? Like, what exactly was Takumi being tested on? And I assume that the same test was ran on all the other students in the Last Defense Academy. A similar test at the very least. Now that's where it gets a little weird, because that was completely Takumi's choice there. So Takumi passed the test because he chose to infuse Hemo Anima upon himself, and we know from like Shoma's reports that Shoma, specifically Shoma, he was the only one where Siri had to do it to him. He couldn't do it himself. So definitely a little weird there. Like, we don't exactly know what's up with that. So like, did Shoma actually pass the test or not? Like, what the fuck happened there? Right? Interesting. This potentially implies that the TRC Takumi was inside is a simulation. Yeah, based on the fact that Siri was summoning fireworks and everything felt so staged, and the fact that there was this split, this complete shift from one second to the other second, where everything started to be abandoned and destroyed. It almost feels too sudden. And of course, that could be a memory gap. I'm pretty sure that is also a memory gap, but that also probably is a case where the TRC we lived before we found Siri was a different TRC, and the one that we were living at that point where we found Siri was the simulated TRC, because before that we didn't have anything weird happening, not, at least not to the extent we saw later. We didn't see the the invaders, we didn't see Siri, we didn't see any abandoned places. So I'm led to believe that the TRC we were at when we found Siri is some sort of simulated one, and that's further backed up by the fact that Siri seemed to be in control of it, right? Now, it is possible that everything from the beginning was a simulation. It is definitely possible, and it's especially possible if we consider that idea that all of the students lived in their own type of Tokyo residential complex, right? Because if you simulated only one of them, that would be a little weird, because the reports from the other students would kind of contradict a lot of our things, and so far they haven't actually. In fact, they've done the opposite. They have actually explained things that we could not explain on our own because our memories are fuzzy. So I'm led to believe that all the students did live in some sort of similar, in the same Tokyo residential complex, and part of it was simulated, and that's kind of where we're going with this. But yeah, it could be possible that the thing is simulated from the start. It's unclear, however, if it's been a simulation from the start, or if he was transported to an identical simulation after the dog chase. Is exactly what I was saying. Likely the second option, given the blank space in their memories and how everything seemed normal up until the cutoff point. Yeah, pretty much what I was talking about. It's also important to note that once Takumi got to the abandoned side of town, he did not remember there being a school at that place, implying that it was built during the erase period of his memories. Yeah, so when Takumi chased the dog, he got into that creepy alleyway, and when he got out of the alleyway, he found that school, and it was like, hey, I don't remember there being a school there, and the school was abandoned. Everything around that area was actually kind of run down and seemed like it was destroyed for a while. And we did see Karuwa running on the windows of the school. So the idea that she was running and didn't seem to be startled at the fact that everything was abandoned, it kind of makes you further think that Karuwa was either a simulation of Karuwa, or somehow Karuwa herself just pretending to be oblivious to it. I'm more fond of the idea that she was actually a simulation at that point. I do believe that the Karuwa we saw before that, before the dog chase, was indeed the real Karuwa, but the one that showed up after is some sort of simulated Karuwa, because at that point we were inside the simulated TRC, so anything could be possible there. I mean, Sirei really morphed into a dog. What the fuck? Anything is possible there. If you can make a dog morph into a little blob thingy, then you can definitely create an artificial Karuwa. So yeah. Furthermore, the existence of a rundown school in the midst of a destroyed and lifeless area plays into the extermination theory discussed in Chapter 5. So I'm gonna give a little bit of a spoiler on that, because I feel like it's gonna be easier to explain. So, if we remember second to last Defense Academy, that place was exploded by Nigo when the commanders were getting inside it. So it was a decoy school, basically. There was nothing in the defense room of that school, and so it was exploded. It was meant to serve as a distraction to the commanders. So the idea that there was no school at that particular place in the TRC up until Takumi walked into the abandoned area, which was simulated, and also a little further on the timeline than when he was chasing the dog. Again, there was a gap in the memory, so some time had passed between the dog chase and when everything was abandoned, implying that the school was built during that time. So it does beg the question, what the fuck is that school? That school is definitely important. Otherwise, why would they bring attention to it from a writing point of view, right? So that school is definitely important. And why, what would the role of a school be in this game, of an academy be, if not some sort of last defense academy as well? Right? So what I'm actually led to believe is that school was some sort of a similar decoy school, just like second to last Defense Academy, and it was exploded in a similar fashion. Ergo, it's destroyed state, right? I feel like that could explain the existence of that school, and it could even be a case where if we go further into that idea, we can deduce that the Tokyo residential complex was actually destroyed using last defense academies, and we can assume that there was indeed a last defense academy in the Tokyo residential complex, and the item inside the defense room was actually fully charged and destroyed the entire place. And this gets really interesting. We're gonna get more into that later, but I think that's like the general idea I have about the Tokyo residential complex as of now. So let's talk about the hijacking of the hemoanima research, because that's kind of where it gets nutty. So based on Shoma's flashbacks, we can infer that the blood research conducted at Kamakura General Hospital was meant to enhance a set of humans who could rise to the surface and fight world death. Pretty much like, it's very likely that Karawa and Nozomi's mother was part of that research. Hemoanima is a product of said research. Yes. So, we've heard that Nozomi's mother is a researcher. We've been hearing that from the beginning of the game. The idea that Nozomi gets like triggered when she hears about the Kamakura General Hospital from Shoma, and the idea that like the most hated thing to her in her report card is hospitals definitely makes you think that she knew, and she had a very strong link to the Kamakura General Hospital. And of course, the strongest link imaginable would be that her mother was a researcher and a doctor at that place. And if she was, then that definitely means that she was linked to the research on hemoanima. Not only that, but in the last session when we had this like talk with her inside the shelter when we were shielding ourselves from the rain and from the lightning, she even said that she was she was an experiment from her mother, and the two of them wanted to protect the world. It was their ultimate goal. Right? That was what they were fighting for. So, based on that idea, like, why else would they run this research on hemoanima if not to protect, like, humanity, right? It was initially a good thing. It was a good plan. Like, we picked, like, those special people, and we were running research on them and on their blood to, like, turn them into warriors, like the hope of humanity, right? It makes perfect sense when you think about it, and definitely there's a huge connection to Karua's mother and that research. However, we also gotta think, hey, why are we right now using the hemoanima and killing humans, as we found out a couple sessions ago with the commander who took its mask off? So yeah, I'm led to believe that this research was hijacked at some point by the agents of World Death. So, given the abandoned state of the TRC during Takumi's encounter with Sirei, it's likely that the agents of World Death were able to infiltrate the complex and destroy it. Exactly. During that period, they could have taken these subjects and put them in some sort of cold sleep for a really long time. It's possible the strange-looking pods were even used for that. All right, so this might seem like comes out of nowhere, like the idea of cold sleep. It doesn't. I have a pretty good and firm reason to believe that they were put in some sort of cold sleep, or that at least, well, I kind of explained this in the other paragraph, so let's just read it and then I'm going to talk over it. Furthermore, they probably had their minds erased there and experienced the simulated TRC during their cold sleep. The reason why I believe a cold sleep must have happened, or at least some sort of time jump, is because it's been so long since the TRC days that humans cannot comprehend Japanese language anymore, and we're gonna get into that in chapter 5. So this is like one of the biggest catches that I had. So we have these humans, like the invader commanders, right? They are humans beneath the masks. All of them seem to be humans, and they can use hemoanima as well, which seems to imply further that these are indeed humans, and they are, they're the same species as us. However, there's a language barrier. Like, they speak in some sort of weird gibberish language that's definitely not gibberish. It is indeed a language that we cannot comprehend, and they cannot comprehend us. and hence the need for that last invader, for that last commander, sorry, to take off its mask, because if they could not communicate with us, then they like needed to show their face. Like like Ato said, the only creatures capable of smiling are humans. So by communicating those emotions to us, like that creature was in the hopes of getting to us and, you know, getting us to understand it. So that was definitely very interesting. And like I said, if they are humans and they cannot comprehend Japanese, which is the language that us that we speak, that we use in this game, and given the fact that everyone in the Tier C, like all the last people in the world were in the Tier C, and the Tier C only spoke Japanese, implies that at some point in time, the only language known by humanity was Japanese, or at least like the 99% of people knew. So the fact that we have like these like humans that do not understand our language anymore seems to imply that a long time has passed since the TRC days and whatever is happening right now, to the point that they completely forgot how to communicate with Japanese. And this will make a lot more sense when we get to chapter 4. Man, I'm talking a lot. And that kind of explains why I think they've been putting into Cold Sleep, because it's been a long time, right? And yeah, like, the destroyed state definitely implies that the Agents of World Death did, like, come there and destroy the entire place. And these Agents of World Death would be none other than Siri and Nigo, according to my theory. Assuming Siri and Nigo are themselves the actual Agents of World Death, erasing the students' memories makes all the more sense. If they hadn't done that, the students would immediately recognize them as the enemy, assuming they had seen the complex getting destroyed by them firsthand. This is so important, right? Because, like, why would... We need to question... we need to make those sorts of questions. Like, why would they erase our students' minds? Like, why would they need to do that? It's because they're hiding something. There would be no need to do that if they were not hiding something and trying to gaslight us, right? And I think the thing they're hiding is that Siri and Nigo are actually the bad guys. They're actually the manifestations of the planet's will. They are actually the conductors of world death, so to speak, or at least some of them, right? And it would make a lot of sense given the fact that they are not human, given the fact that they are not very trustworthy, given the fact that they've been like bamboozling us all this time, and it would definitely play into the idea that we are indeed like trying to exterminate humanity. Like, it would also explain why Siri was so adamant about us having to like finish off the commanders. After all, we're trying to exterminate humanity, right? So if that is the goal, then they definitely would want us to slay those commanders, right? Because they are humans after all. And of course, based on the idea that the Tier C was destroyed by the Agents of World Death, if these agents were actually like Siri's species, then if they did not erase our students' minds, we would immediately recognize Siri as the enemy when we saw him like giving us orders, and we would be like, no, we're not gonna follow you, you destroyed our home. But now, you know, since they erased our memories, they just don't know that, right? And that just gives them a perfect scenario to like gaslight us, because they paint themselves as allies, and that just works perfectly in their favor, right? This would pose a problem to their plan of gaslighting the homonymous subjects to work in their favor. Exactly. If they hadn't erased their memories, they would have the students would have recognized them as the enemy. Moreover, the invaders we fight in Last Defense Academy. Hello, Lily. Welcome to the stream. I am just I'm just like going over my theories for this game. It's pretty heavy stuff, it's probably very boring as well. I'm just gonna be talking for like an hour. Moreover, the invaders we fight in Last Defense Academy only showed up in the TRC during its abandoned state. In other words, in the simulated version of the complex, as discussed in Chapter 1. This is very important. Up until the point where we chased the dog, we had not seen nor any sign of Siri or of the invaders. Like, the world was completely fine. There was nothing going wrong in that world, which again like plays into the idea that it was simulated after that, and at that entire period where everything was normal, that was the real TRC. We actually lived that, right? Allegedly. By portraying these invaders as the bad guys, as well as providing the students with the hemo anima to fight against them, Siri's species would be considered an ally. So basically, this is like them tricking us. Like, Siri tricked us into believing that these invaders were the enemy, because in the simulated version, he like summoned them and they started attacking all the population. And Takumi saw that firsthand and he was like, oh my god, those invaders are bad. And then when they started attacking Karuwa, that was like the breaking point. Like, he had to do something to fight them. And then Siri would give him the hemo anima, like the weapon to fight him, and Takumi would take it and protect Karuwa by killing off the invaders, right? So Siri is in a perfect position where he like seems like an ally. He like the initial impression of him you get is like he's trying to help you. He's trying to help you fight off the things that are destroying your home. But what's actually happening is that Siri is the one that's like controlling us from the shadows, right? So TLDR, Siri deliberately used simulated invaders to gaslight the students into targeting them, unaware that the real enemy was puppeteering them all along. These invaders are actually aliens from another planet. See the next chapter. Don't think I'm crazy. Like, this is like the boom. Like, this is like the boom moment in my theory. Like, the realization that, like, explains so many things to me. Right? The moment I realized that, I was like, holy shit. That is totally it, isn't it? So, the invaders are aliens. Humanity's final escape. I got chills talking about this. After the TRC was destroyed by the real agents of World F, Siri's species, humanity had nowhere to go. Earth was completely uninhabitable after all. Therefore, they had to evacuate into another planet. They started living in harmony with aliens, aka invaders, living among them and eventually learning their language. Right? So that would explain the language barrier. It would explain why they do not understand Japanese. It would explain why they have their own fucking language that we do not understand, because that is actually the alien language. Right? And the reason why they're able to be commanders is because they can communicate with the invaders. And the invaders are actually just the population of that world. We're not on Earth. There is no Japanese, English, or any recognizable human language text anywhere in the ruins of this world. I actually spent fucking hours watching every cutscene and looking at every advanced CG this game has shown us so far, and I could not find a single kanji or fucking English letter anywhere in the debris. I swear to God, this planet is not Earth. This planet is not Earth. I would be surprised. Like, of course, there's like buildings and like roads that look like they're human made. But of course, like, if humanity lived in this planet for so long, they would definitely like make those constructions, right? They would definitely make this world more suited to their type of livelihood. So it makes sense that we have all these like buildings and skyscrapers, everything. But the fact that we do not have a single like Japanese sign or anything or anything, right? Does beg the question: is this Earth? And I don't think it is. And if this is not Earth, then basically everything I said up until now makes sense. Or like 90% of it, at least. It explains 90%. It basically backs up 90% of what I've already said. Right? They lived under their culture for hundreds of years, becoming respectable members of their kind and eventually representing them as commanders. The gibberish they speak is actually the alien language. Being distanced from home or the TRC for so long, they can't comprehend Japanese anymore. Ergo, the language barrier. Exactly what I was talking about, right? So this is the alien language, and they're communicating using it, right? Like this was the moment in my theory where I was like, oh my god. Like, I got fucking chills, man. Of course, it doesn't explain everything. Everything at least. But it links so many things together. It explains the language barrier, explains why humans are here, it explains the invaders' natures, it explains, like, so much. Right? So much. Syria and company eventually made it to their hideout planet, seeking to exterminate the remnants of humanity, taking advantage of gaslighted humans and the stolen hemo anima to kill them. These human commanders still managed to retain the hemo anima research done in the TRC like way back before they evacuated Earth, and are actively trying to use it during our battles to defend themselves. Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's the other thing that this explains. It explains the defense room, and it explains why they're fighting us. It explains so much. So yeah, assuming that this is indeed a different planet and that world death is still ongoing, just like they said before, it would make sense that the agents of world death would be like looking for the last humans, the ones who were able to escape world death, to like finally finish them off. And if those humans fled to another planet entirely, they would not be hesitating to destroy that planet as well. So this is kind of what they're doing. They created this Last Defense Academy, and inside that academy there's like the doomsday device that's gonna wipe out the entire life of the planet. And what the human commanders are actually doing is they teamed up with the aliens who they've been living for years and years, and are trying to like break into our defense room and stop that thing from going off after 100 days, right? Just like it happened with the TRC, which would explain the abandoned school in the simulated TRC. Isn't that crazy? Like, oh my god, that's so crazy. Like, I hope I'm right on that. So, Defense Room of Doom. Extermination complete. The reason the humans and aliens have been trying to break into the defense room is because whatever is in there isn't meant to save humanity, but wipe it out completely. When Takumi walked into the abandoned area of the TRC, he found a school in shambles, possibly implying that the agents of World Death implemented a similar mechanism of academies there to purge the TRC. Basically what I was talking about, so just rereading it. That school could have been a decoy school that blew up, much like the second to last Defense Academy. Yeah, one of the things I also mentioned when we were discussing the Tokyo Residential Complex a couple minutes back. So yeah, I don't have anything to comment on that. Basically everything I said already. But yeah, the thing inside of the defense room is something bad, like, and we are just being gaslighted into believing it's not. Hello, Artanist. Welcome to my 100-line stream. We've been going over my master theory. I promised the last stream I would do a PowerPoint presentation of it, and so I did. We've been talking for 40 minutes already over so many things. Like, we're like going crazy with this, and yeah, I'm just kind of laying down my theories for the game because I do have I do think I'm onto something here, and I spent so much time cooking this up. So yeah, it's unclear why this specific system is used, but one reason could be that the agents of World Death have been gaslighting real humans for longer than we initially thought. So this is also something that we should consider. So if we think about something like Hiruko, right? Hiruko has fought before us, and not only has she fought invaders, she also fought commanders before. Like, what the fuck does that actually mean? Right? Like, were there commanders before this planet? Aren't just the commanders like the humans who like lived among the alien culture or whatever the fuck? Like, what the actual hell is happening? Right? So this does make me think a couple of things. But more than anything, I guess the general idea that these exterminations, that these like systems that they've been implementing with the academies and the defenders have been going on for longer than we think is actually true. This would explain why Hiruko was fighting before us, and also why she was taken away when she was about to reveal details about the truth. Details she found out during her first battle, right? Let's not forget we have an entire novel about her first battle, so it was definitely something big and major, and we're definitely going to read that novel after we're done with the game, because I'm so curious, right? So yeah, we've been seeing a lot of disappearances in this game, and a lot of, I think like one of the lines from the last session that really made me reconsider a bunch of things is when Nozomi said that if she like told us the things she's hiding, she would not be allowed to stay at Last Defense Academy, right? So if you think about that, there's like someone controlling like what's like the knowledge of the students, right? And that would explain why Hiruko disappeared, right? And Nozomi for some reason knows about that. So if Nozomi knows about that, then what exactly is she hiding from us? I'm gonna get more into Nozomi and Karawa later on in the theory, but it's definitely weird, like, given what we know, that she's aware that she can't tell us these things. Like, what is actually she hiding? I don't think like she knows the full truth though. It doesn't make sense that she knows the full truth. We're gonna get into Karawa. Let's just chill. But yeah, these battles have been going for longer than we think, and that would explain the abandoned school and the Tokyo residential complex. It's unlikely that she knew the full extent of the truth, given how excited she was to exterminate the commanders. Exactly. And she did say to us that she knew a harrowing truth about a role there in the academy. And the moment I heard that, I was like, well, interesting, so maybe we're doing something bad here in the academy. But if she knows the full truth, why would she be so excited to fucking kill off humans? Like, is she just a psychopath, or does she just not know about the commanders being human? I don't think she's a psychopath, for the very reason that she wanted to protect us as a team. Like, she wanted to win this war at all costs. But winning the war to her doesn't mean just coming out as victorious. It means saving everyone who is fighting alongside her. She cannot have her victory if her allies die. And this is also interesting, because if she thinks like that, if she feels so strongly about saving everyone, about having us alive by the end of the battle, does beg the question, has she lost allies before? And if she has, that would mean she was part of some other group of defenders. And if she has been a part of some other group of defenders, it means another extermination plan that was carried out before. Basically explaining the whole thing, right? So that's interesting. The same could be true for Siri, probably executed by the higher-ups who are trying to go off script. Likely. right? The problem I have with saying that is that like Siri did not exactly say anything bad. Like he was actually pretty adamant about telling us only the things he was allowed to, and before telling us the truth about the about Last Defense Academy, he said he was going to like talk it off with the higher ups just to know if he could like actually tell us about it, right? So he did not do anything off script necessarily, but like he was having the thought. Like he was having the thought of like telling them, right? But it's still weird that they would like execute him. So I'm not entirely confident on this specifically, right? So this is pretty much the end of the main theory, right? I think this explains pretty much where my mind is at, right? In terms of the story so far. And now we're getting into a little bit more of a speculative area in the game, where like okay, so if the defense room actually holds some sort of doomsday device and that thing goes off at day 100 and the whole world is fucking destroyed, all the life in that planet is like gone, what is actually gonna happen after? Because that's definitely not where the game ends. Like, if anything, again, that's like the prologue of the game. We still haven't even started this goddamn video game, because this game is fucking ginormous, right? So we haven't even started, right? So beyond the 100 days, it's likely that Last Defense Academy will be destroyed along with the rest of the world on day 100. At least some of the students are definitely going to survive, possibly as a result of someone sacrificing themselves for them. Yeah, that's kind of where my mind is at. So, if we have this moment where, like, the Doomsday device is activated and it, like, explodes the entire planet and just leaves, like, some sort of fucking abandoned, like, post-apocalyptic place, which is kind of like what it already is, but at least like there is some like resistance, there is some life still like trying to survive there, and of course those are the commanders and the invaders. Like it would like basically wipe them out entirely at that point. So like if that thing goes off, like we would also be swept along with it. We would like also die alongside the rest of the planet. And like this is kind of where I think something like some sort of sacrifice is going to happen. Like someone is going to protect us, or protect some amount of students from dying when the Doomsday device goes off. And this will be probably like the most emotional moment of the game up until that point, at least, because so far, one thing I really like about this game is that it takes its time to like basically like not have stakes, right? It introduces a narrative without many stakes, where like, oh, we have the Revival-matic, we have like this machine that can bring us back to life if we die, so we don't have to worry about dying. We can just die again, and we shouldn't care about it because we're just brought back. So there really aren't many stakes at play right now. But if the game decides to like blow up Last Defense Academy and by extension the Revival-matic alongside it, then that would mean we would get into an area of the game, into a portion of the story where if we actually die, we die for real. And we have been playing this game for so long with the idea in mind that our deaths are like meaningless because we are just brought back again, that it might not only cause in us as a player a shock, but also in the characters who got so used to that mechanism. And I think that's a really interesting approach to the story. Because, right, before you introduce, like, from a writing perspective, before you introduce a change in status quo, you gotta get the audience accustomed to the status quo in the first place. So I think that would be a very intriguing development, and definitely something I would enjoy. And if someone did sacrifice themselves as a means to protect the other students and have them live past the Doomsday event, I think that would be a perfect way to cement right there, right then, that that the revival-matic is not working anymore. Like, maybe they try to like bring the body of the student who sacrificed themselves into the revival-matic, but it doesn't work anymore, and they realize that they finally like lost someone for real. And not only that, like, upon realizing that they themselves have like have helped wipe out the entirety of humanity, they would be carrying so much guilt and so much like remorse. Like the ways that this story can develop are so fascinating to me. And if that's the direction we're going, I'm gonna fucking lose my mind. It's so good. The students are gonna be overwhelmed with guilt, knowing they just help exterminate the rest of humanity, questioning whether or not they should even keep going. Exactly. Like, like my mind, I just smile. Like, that would be such a nutty development that oh my god. It's just beautiful. Like, from a writing perspective, that's just too good. It has to happen, right? With the academy down, there's no revival-matic anymore. Death means death. Some people will start considering suicide, but Takumi will remember Nozumi/Katawa's words. You can do it if you try. He'll likely persuade them all out of inaction, and the students are going to find a way out of the situation together. Right, so this is kind of like where we get a little bit into the thematics of the story. So I'm gonna, of course, explore this more in the other slide, which is literally like thematical analysis. But kind of like going over a bit of it right here. The idea that the students will like be starting to consider suicide and like just giving up in general of this entire fight after being overwhelmed with so much guilt, I think is very interesting. I'm definitely curious to see how Darumi specifically would react to that, because Darumi is the one kind of suicidal person in our group, so that would definitely be interesting, like as a development for her character. And I would be very curious to know how she would respond to that situation. But generally speaking, I feel like the characters are going to feel so horrible, right? And they will be just giving up the fight, just closing themselves off, and yeah, just basically throwing the blankets. And one of the things this game has been doing since the beginning in terms of thematics is like pushing people to fight, right? So we have this event in the game. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the thematics in the next slide. Let's just keep hold that thought. So the idea that they are like going to team up, and the idea that they're going to like team up and find a way, to escape this planet together, to like some sort of hope, right? To like locate some sort of hope, maybe escape the planet, maybe find another like colony of humans, maybe find the agents of World F's headquarters and like get revenge on them. I don't know what exactly is gonna happen, but I don't think they would be able to keep living on this planet. So we could like join the knowledges and the forces of everyone we have and try to escape the planet somehow. In that note, Tsubasa can use her mechanical knowledge to build a rocket to leave the planet. Of course, like, I think that would be like very fun, like that would be just fan service to me if Tsubasa gets like play such an important role. The twins can help fetch edible herbs for the group with their survival expertise, like basically being our like a source of food essentially, because if we're gonna be building a rocket, we're gonna be there for a while and we are not gonna survive anymore because the Ratio-Nomadic from the Last Defense Academy will be destroyed following the Doomsday event. So that, yeah, we will definitely need to find some sort of nourishment. And the twins are basically our hotline for that. And Moeko can use her strength to help with heavy lifting and building the rocket. And, you know, other characters could have their own roles as well. Like, these are kind of the ones that are on my mind at the moment. And I think that would be very, very cool, like, to have all the students working together, using their own, like, unique abilities and helping us find some sort of escape of this dire situation that will be inside at that point. So, yeah. Doing embroidery while listening to Laura is so calming. My god, you're still hearing me yap. Oh my god. I've been yapping for the past 55 minutes. This is crazy. And we're nowhere near done. Sup, hello Sabian, welcome. you might be overwhelmed with this stream because I'm basically going over a master theory I have for this entire game that's like multi-chapter long, and I'm trying to like string together a bunch of the events of the game, and I do believe I'm onto something here. So, thematic analysis, right? This is kind of where I was, what I was talking about earlier, in the idea that this game has been having a theme of like, I would say purpose, right? Because what we've seen up until now is like a bunch of students who were kind of like put against some sort of like world grand threat, and they're just like forced to fight it, right? But at the same time, these students and humans in general in the story, they have been living in this super comfortable, uneventful place called the Tokyo Residential Complex, where there is no real danger. Nothing ever happens there. And all of a sudden, there's this, like, shock and twist in their lives where they finally have to, like, fight something, where danger is actually real. And, like, that's the moment where they like, can't bring themselves to fight until they remember those, like, little things, those little beloved things from the world that they love so much, that they want to protect, that they feel so strongly about, right? So, when the world literally turned itself against humanity, everyone ran away and hid in their own artificial world. A mundane, boring world where nothing ever happened, far from all the dangers of the surface. But they accepted it as normal and lived their everyday lives there, without doing anything to change it. Exactly. The world was dying and they ran away from it. They didn't fight it, or rather they couldn't fight it, right? So they just ran off and hid in seclusion. Did you write these on your own, or are these texts actually in the game? No, I wrote this entire thing on my own. I wrote it all yesterday. I spent the whole day studying every single CG cutscene in the game up until now, like all my notes, all the story beats up until this point, and I've crafted this master theory, and I hope I get things right. None of this text in the game. This is all original. The only thing I took from the game in this presentation is the CGs in the background, of course. Everyone, however, has something they hold dear in the world, something they want to protect. The game almost forces these characters to stand up and fight for the things they care about. If the extermination theory is right and they end up being the reason why humanity dies out, it'll certainly be an interesting twist on the theme. How would someone move past the guilt of not simply losing their most beloved thing, but being the very agent who caused that loss? Now, this is very interesting, right? Because if these characters, like, are fighting to protect their beloved things, and at the end of the day, what they're actually doing is, like, destroying those things, like, being gaslighted into destroying them, that would be such a crazy development, wouldn't it? Like, oh my god. And so tragic, too. Like, how the fuck would they move past that? How the fuck does anyone move past that? Right? Like, they would have literally nothing else in the world to hold on to. I cannot begin to tell you how crazy the thought of that is to me. Right? But there's also another problem with that. It's important to note that not every character has a link to the world. Darumi and the Tsukumo twins, for example, don't seem to care about what happens to humanity. So in the case of the twins, everything these two care about is each other. So Ima's entire world is Kako, and Kako's entire world is Ima. So they literally don't care about anything else that happens, which makes me wonder if one of them is gonna die, right? If one of them dies, they would basically be in the same spot of the other students, where they literally lost everything they care about. And that would be, like, such a beautiful, point in the story where they could develop this narrative in such interesting ways. And I just smile thinking about the possibilities. But yeah, in the case of Darumi as well, like, Darumi is a little bit of an oddball in this, because I really cannot, like, make any predictions on how she would react to the entire thing. She's such a weird character in that sense, because, like she really doesn't want to go back to the world, but at the same time she enjoys like chaotic scenarios. So I believe that like the idea that she would like be in such a hopeless place would actually kind of turn her on a little bit, and she would like become a force to be reckoned with, if that makes any sense. Like I really don't know how Dotami would react to this. Like, the only thing I know is that, well, she doesn't seem to have a link to the real world. And given we don't know the full extent of her backstory, we don't know the full story of her abusive brother and any of that. We just know, like, little glimpses of it. But definitely an interesting character in that specific scenario, if this is how the story plays out. So, right now, let's talk a little bit about the loose threads and some speculation on the elements I do not know how to fit into my theory. Or rather, I couldn't fit into my theory no matter how much I tried. So first off, we have the moon. Or quote-unquote the moon. We believe this is the moon. I have no idea because Painters and Owls, but I went to pass and wish you a happy and fun streaming day. Thank you, Ponta. Well, this is kind of funny because this stream is basically all audio, so that's interesting that you cannot have audio here specifically. But yeah, thank you so much. You really aren't missing too much besides me just theorizing about stuff. So if you catch that later, well, have fun listening to me yap for like hours and hours. But yeah, thank you for sharing by. I'm definitely enjoying myself here. Yeah. So in regards to the moon, of course, like Takumi like looked at the moon at this one point in the story, and he realized that the moon was actually like mechanical. So what does that actually mean, right? So, assuming we're on a completely different planet, there's no telling what this oh my god. That this mechanical moon could actually be. It probably isn't even a planet, satellite, or star. Likely, it's the headquarters for the Agents of World Death, in which case, it could very well be a renovated Earth. So, if the Agents of World Death are like stationed inside this moon-looking thing, I wouldn't be surprised if that thing is actually like the Earth. Because what better base could you actually get? What better headquarters could you actually get as the Agents of World Death besides planet Earth itself? So I'm led to believe that this could actually be Earth, and they like made it mechanical or made it like turn it into some sort of spaceship or something, and that's where the bad guys actually are, right? Like, that's kind of one of my thoughts. Takumi seems to have been in this place before. He tries to remember its name, but he bumps into a blank term every time, almost as if it's on the tip of his tongue, but he can't quite place it. So this would probably mean that they erased his memories of being in that place, right? Like, it makes too much sense because it has happened twice. It has happened twice. Like, at a point in the story, like at the very beginning of the game, it was like session 1. There was this moment where he looked at the moon, and he was like, oh, that is the, like, and then a blank text flashed on the screen. Like, he could not remember what this place was, and then it happened again. It happened again later on in the story, right? The same issue. He could not quite place what this place actually was, but it sounds like it's something that was in his memory at some point. Like, he knows that place, but something is blocking it. Something is like, yeah, something is blocking that memory, the memory of that place. So definitely I feel like that's somewhere he's been, and it would, like, he would have been there if that is actually like the headquarters of the Agents of World Death, because, well, they transported these students here after all, so that would make a lot of sense, right? It's not the moon, since he can definitely remember that. Yes, like, he definitely remembered the I recently arrived amazed with your commitment to the game. Keep it up. Thank you. Like, I actually spent the whole day yesterday making this giant fucking theory, and I do believe I am onto something with it. I'm pretty confident in a couple of things. Pretty confident, right? So yeah, this place is not the moon because Takumi has already remembered the moon, and the blank term still pops up, so it's something different than the moon. There's a possibility that it's... By the way, welcome, Rallies. I might have to go. My phone's at 4%. I'll be back, though. All right? Suit yourselves. There's a possibility that it's actually where the TRC is located. That was one of my first thoughts when we, like, actually played that part in the game. Meaning the underground story is a bunch of BS, which is also something that's been on my mind ever since they explained that story to us. The mechanical exterior would certainly make sense given the dome-ish structure of the TRC. Now, here's the thing. Upon second thought, the idea that the underground story is a bunch of BS isn't necessarily too plausible, because if this sphere in the sky is actually Earth, then, well, the TRC could still be, like, inside it on the underground or something, right? Like, let's say, like, there's just, like, this like, globe outside of the planet that's, like, mechanical and meant to, like, disguise it, but inside there's actually, like, the Earth we know. And under the ground of that inside, there's, like, the Tokyoization complex. So that place, if that place is Earth, the TRC could still be there under the ground. So I don't know if I'm into the idea of it all being fake too much, right? The mechanical exterior would certainly make sense given the dome-ish structure of the TRC. Yeah, but then again, the TRC, if the TRC is underground, then the TRC was supposed to be a pretty small place, all things considered. And this moon here, I mean, we can't know because of perspective, but the moon seems to be pretty big. Like, and definitely, like, the size of the TRC would not be the size of the moon by any means. Like, the TRC is actually a pretty small place. Actually, we have measures. We read that one book in the library. I'm gonna write this down. I'm gonna write this down just for future reference. But we did read a book on the construction of the TRC, where we actually had the dimensions of the entire place. So I'm gonna pick that and compare it to the dimensions of the moon and see, like, if that tracks. Because if that does track, like, I love how you're debunking your own theory. Kind of. Like, I just have so many thoughts. Like, this game just won't leave my mind. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna compare the dimensions of the TRC with the dimensions of the real-life moon and see if, like, it's anything close to it. Because I don't think the TRC is supposed to be, like, any big at all. It's supposed to be, like, the size of, like, a town. And the population is not even that big. So anyway, on that note, also, man, my throat's kind of drying because I've been speaking for so long. But on that note, one other thing I wanted to mention about the moon that I did not write here because I thought of it today's morning is, so we know that all of the natural phenomena that's been happening in this world, well, okay, first things first, this is a different planet. Let's go from there. Let's assume that this is a different planet. This is not Earth, right? This is a different planet. However, it has a lot of the same natural phenomena that Earth had in the past. Like, we have rain, we have storms, we have the day and night cycle and whatnot. We have everything, right? And the atmosphere seems to be similar as well because, well, we can breathe outside. So, very similar atmosphere, which would make sense if my theory that humans evacuated to this planet as an escape of world death, like, it would make all the sense in the world, because they would need to find some sort of planet that had similar conditions to Earth so that they could inhabit it. Because otherwise, like, why would they, like, they could not, like, station at a lava planet or something. They needed to find somewhere habitable for the human, like, for the human conditions, right? So it would make sense. And, so on that note, the idea that this, world has actually, like, similar conditions and phenomena to Earth, like, I really want to know, is this moon right here meant to, like, trick us? Because what if this world doesn't even have a moon? What if this world doesn't even have a moon, and this, like, object here in the sky is meant to, like, trick us, right? And on that note, it could still be the base for the invaders, but they're using it as a disguise in order to, like, basically bamboozle the students into believing, oh, that's just the moon. But the fact that it's mechanical upon closer notice does imply that something is up with that, and that it is, in fact, artificial. So I don't even believe this, like, this planet has a moon. I don't believe that. And if we could, like, communicate with the invaders, if we could, like, learn their language at some point, hopefully Shoma is able to do that based on how much time he's like spending with them. If at some point we can understand that language, maybe they can tell us, hey, that moon in the sky, like, wasn't there before, right? They would know. I'm back sooner than I thought. Welcome. I'm still yapping. So yeah, very interesting stuff on the moon, and I'm definitely curious to see what the fuck this is all about, right? And another thing that I definitely do not know how to link to my theory is Ghost Boy and Undying Flames. I have no idea. I will be honest. I have no idea what is up with this guy. I have some theories, but I really am not confident in that. Like, Ghost Boy only appears during the night. 2 of his 3 appearances happened while Takumi was contemplating the moon, leading me to believe that he has something to do with it, right? Moreover, it looks like he always has a limited time here. He tries to speak to Takumi, but seems to be unable to communicate with words, and then he just, like, disappears, right? It's almost like he's got, like, 3 minutes or something to, like, try to make some sort of communication, and then just disappears. And, like, one of my thoughts is, like, okay, since this guy is, like, covered in Undying Flames, I am led to believe that he has something to do with the creation of Undying Flames, right? Or at least, like, if he's immune to it, it looks like some sort of Super Saiyan. And, I will say, like, I have a thought regarding this guy, and I do have this weird idea where this character, this Ghost Boy, could actually be one of the students. Now, he would definitely not be a girl, I don't think, but he certainly could be Takumi. He could be Eito. I feel like Eito would be the most believable one. Definitely not Takemaru. Definitely not Shoma. Definitely not Gaku, I don't think. Definitely, yeah. This guy could be Eito or Takumi. I feel like it makes sense that he could be Eito. Based on, like, I do have a slide just on Eito a little further down the line. So we're gonna go over that a little bit. But I feel like if this guy is someone we know, he almost, like, it's almost certain that he's either Takumi or Eito. If he's Takumi, then I have no idea what is happening in this world. Because what the fuck? Right? Are we, like, dealing with some sort of clone thing? Because there is a moment in the game where Takumi looks in the mirror and goes like, hey, that's still me, right? Why does my reflection does not feel like me? Right? It's like he gets into a little bit of an existential and identity crisis there, and that does make me wonder, like, are we dealing with, like, multiple versions of ourselves? Because not only is that an evidence, but also the game itself has raised the question of parallel universes. Or rather, Eito Altsky has raised the question of parallel universes. And he himself debunked his own theory based on the events of the game. Right? So it's so weird. Like, I love this fucking story because the more I think about it, the more, like, the more interesting it gets. Because there's a lot of elements to it that I simply cannot comprehend. And, like, when I think I'm like this close to the truth, I find like a million contradictions, and like that just keeps me motivated to try and like find more and more and more. Like it's so like the way that the story is laid out is so interesting, and if I am right in the way it's like progressing, one, I cooked, and two, holy shit, this is brilliant. Alright, so why is Takumi the only one who sees it? That's also a really important question. So if there are no sorts of clones, I feel like if Takumi is the only one who sees it, that would imply he's Eito if he's like anyone we know. But I'm not sure. Yeah, is that ghost someone we know already? And what about the Undying Flames? Is he the one making the flames? Is he what's inside the defense room? Like, is that actually possible? Is that actually possible at all? Is this guy inside the defense room? Right? Because the defense room, in and of itself, is like surrounded by Undying Flames. So, kind of tracks, right? If he like generates Undying Flames and he's like hidden inside the defense room, maybe he has like brief moments where he can like go out and try to talk to someone. But that like that's where it gets weird, because it would make sense to purge humanity by covering the world in Undying Flames, yes, but still, why is it human-like, and why can only Takumi see him, right? Like, why is this thing human? Why is it not just a device? That's where it kind of gets fishy. But I will say, one of the really interesting things in regard to the moon is that, well, one of the things that Siri said back at the very beginning of the game is that the school is surrounded by Undying Flame. By the way, hold that thought. The second to last Defense Academy did not have Undying Flames surrounding it. This academy does have, right? And we also have Ghost Boy showing up. And if Ghost Boy is the one generating the flames, then boom, that's explained, right? And Ego even said, oh, our school doesn't have Undying Flames because ... Right? So, the thing generating the Undying Flames is not in the second to last Defense Academy, or rather, was not in the second to last Defense Academy. So, it would make sense that he would be inside this defense room. He's the one generating the Undying Flames, and he's the one that's eventually gonna burn the entire world to ashes. Why does he need 100 days for that? I don't know. Why is he human-like? I have no idea. Like, is he also being, like, a captive of the agents of World F? Like, I don't think he's doing this, I don't think he wants to do this. I don't think he wants to, like, exterminate this world, but something will happen if he, like, keeps locked up, if, like, remains locked up for 100 days, and he's, like, gonna burst at some point, maybe. Maybe that's what's happening, right? Is that possible? So definitely interesting. And, going back to the thing I was talking about, the moon, Siri did say at the beginning of the game that, the invaders cannot easily get to the academy from the surroundings because of the Undying Flames that are, they're, like, around the school. However, invaders could easily come from the space, right? And if the moon is some sort of, like, base for the agents of World F, it does make sense that, like, you know, Siri and co would, like, be able to get in and out of the academy easily from there, right? So, like, let's say there's a bunch of, like, little Siris inside that moon. They would easily be able to infiltrate the academy if needed, because there's no Undying Flames on top of the academy. So another reason why I believe the moon is some sort of base for them. But yeah, Ghost Boy, very unclear on him. No idea what to make of him. And Hiruko Shizuhara. I feel like I talked basically through everything I wanted with her a couple chapters ago. But yeah, Hiruko is the only one of the fighters who confirmed to be fighting the invaders before, commanders included. Not only that, but she gets ecstatic at the thought of exterminating them. She seems to know the harrowing truth behind our service, but it's unlikely that she knows the full picture based on the fact that she like gets super excited at the thought of killing invaders, or rather killing commanders. So she definitely doesn't know that these are humans. I can't believe she just is a psychopath. Like, it makes no sense for her character. She was curious herself to know what's inside the defense room, and I doubt she would enjoy killing humans, so I don't think she knows about that. Yeah, and that's also the thing. She was curious to know what was inside the defense room, so she doesn't know all the details about this thing. She does know some amount of truth, and that truth is harrowing, so... yeah, I don't know exactly what she knows. I really don't know exactly what she knows. Maybe all she knew was world death. Maybe there's a chance that everything she knew was world death, and maybe she knew that humanity was wiped out. But she doesn't know that we are being gaslighted into killing the rest of humanity, right? I don't think she knew that. But it would make sense that she would label it as a harrowing truth if if planet Earth was destroyed, for example, was fully destroyed. Because up until the point where she said that, we didn't know about world death. She's fixated on winning the war, but only if everyone survives. That's what she considers victory. She definitely used tough love on the crew to shape them up, probably because she knows what happens with people who don't fight. That could be a sign that she has been a part of the crew before, further supporting the idea of previous defense academies and defenders. Exactly, that's what I talked about before. So if, like, the idea that Hiroko feels so strongly about protecting her crewmates, of, like, having them fight together and survive the war alongside her, makes me wonder, like, hey, has she lost like friends and co-fighters in the past, and that's why she feels so strongly about it? She has fought before, so it only makes sense, right? It makes so much sense. And it would make sense that she would also know about world death based on that. I don't think they would have told her the entire scope of the plan, but they would have told her about world death. So it makes sense, right? That's pretty much what I have to say about her. I feel like that's pretty straightforward. Oh my god, I pressed the wrong button. I actually, like... hold on, I pressed the wrong button. I actually have the game, like, open here. No, we're not playing! We're not playing! We're just theorizing. Hold your horses. Hold your horses, we're not playing. No? Return to title. Sorry, guys, we're not playing. We're just going on. I mean, we might be able to play for like half an hour, but I just want to go over this theory. Let me go back to the beginning so we got the music again. Alright. So, yeah, back to this. So, yeah, let's talk a little bit about Karo Akashimi and Nozomi Kirifuji. So, yeah, these two are the same person. Let's just get this over with. They are the same person. I don't think they are different people at all. It just doesn't make sense. Anything like anything makes sense if they're different people. Not at all. And last session we had something pretty interesting taking place. We discovered that Nozomi wanted to be scouted by Siri, implying she doesn't know about their master plan, right? Because if Nozomi knew about like the plan to exterminate humanity that Siri and Co are carrying out, she would have not wanted to tag along with this ride, right? Like, especially considering her goal is to protect humanity. Like, it was her mother's dream. And I don't think Nozomi is tricking us. She feels so genuine and passionate about people here. So there's no way she's tricking us. I cannot bring myself to believe that. It just doesn't make sense. And we have even like so many scenes that are like meant, and so many like moments that are meant to showcase that she actually feels genuinely about people. And Moko is a great example of that. So we have that moment where like she literally cried after seeing Moko standing and like talking to people. Like, she was so happy that her friend that she thought was gonna bite it was finally there, you know, looking healthy, right? So, like, she's for real here. And what I actually think happened is she simply lost her memories of Karuha. She didn't lose her memories of Karuha, but she forgot about a couple of things. She forgot about Takumi, she forgot about her name as Karuha, and she no, that's the two things. Yeah, she forgot her name as Karuha and she forgot Takumi. Right? She remembers a couple of things that we do not. She remembers the Kamukura General Hospital, for example. Right? Alright, let's get into it. We're gonna get to that. So, if she doesn't know their master plan, like, that's kind of what's bugging me. What exactly does she know that she can't tell us? Right? Because, well, what could she possibly be hiding from us? Like, if she's doing this for our good and she can't tell us something, then what the fuck is that something? Because the only things you could be hiding about the invaders are bad. I need to put this controller away. I keep pressing buttons accidentally. The only thing that she could be hiding is something bad. But if she's being legit and if she actually cares about us, then what is she hiding? What is she hiding? Hold on, I'm getting a call. Give me just a sec. All right, I'm back. So yeah, where? Oh, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, what could Karuha be possibly hiding about about her involvement with Sire and company? Like, what the fuck? I cannot bring myself to like have any ideas on that. It's so weird because all the things I can imagine she could be hiding from us are bad things, but also given the fact that she seems to be genuinely trying to protect us, like, that just contradicts it. Like, she's not a bad person, so why would she be hiding something bad? She does seem to know, however, that if she ends up saying something she shouldn't, she'll be taken away from Last Defense Academy. A similar fate to Siri and Hiruko. So yeah, she does know that, and hence why she asked us to keep the entire conversation to ourselves. Because she has to make it to day 100 for some reason. So, like, does she know what happens in day 100? Like, is she actually planning to, like, intercept the thing inside the Defense Academy? Like, what the fuck? Like, right, what is, like, does she know? Like, here's kind of where I'm at. Like, does she know what's gonna happen at day 100? Does she know that there's a doomsday device inside the defense room and she plans to, like, stop it? And that's why she has to be here? But if that's the case, why would she want to be scouted? Right? Like, if she would be scouted, she would just be gaslighted. So it doesn't make sense. I don't know why. I don't know why she would want to be scouted if she knows about the plan. But if she doesn't know about the plan, then what the hell is she hiding from us? I don't know. She's such a weird presence in this story. Gotta do my morning ritual today. Oh, hell yes. Oh, man. I'm fucking lost. Enjoy your cereal, Heartsonist. So, another really important thing, guys. Karuha had a belly scar from the car accident that killed her dad. If the game decides, for purely plot-related reasons, to show us Nozomi's chest and abdomen area beneath her clothes, it would essentially confirm that Karuha and Nozomi are indeed the same person. This will just be the cherry on the top, I will say, because I'm pretty much convinced that they are the same person. I would be surprised if they're not. But honestly, I wouldn't mind that confirmation if it means we got to see her little tummy, you know? But anyway, based on the fact that Nozomi does not remember anything related to Takumi, but remembers her mother being dead, something Takumi doesn't remember, implies that each character had different pieces of their memories erased. Right? So that makes that's a big thing as well, because a lot of the characters do remember different things. You're losing it, Tavin. You lost it a long time ago. You are both right. I'm losing what I've already lost. So all the characters have lost different pieces of their memories. Shoma, for example, remember, and like they're like collectively remembering little bits of it. So in the case of Takumi, he did not remember Leo, right? So he definitely found that dog, and again, that dog must be Leo. There's no other explanation. That dog must be Leo. And he did not remember that dog was Leo, and he did not remember Shoma. Apparently, he found someone to adopt the dog, and that someone most definitely is Shoma. There's no way it's anyone else, right? And if that someone is Shoma, that implies that Takumi knew Shoma back in the residential complex. So that memory was erased from him. However, Shoma did remember Leo, which is something that Takumi didn't remember. So all of the characters have different parts and bits of their memories that were erased. In Takumi specifically, he had not only the memories past the dog chase lost, but also memories from way back in his childhood, where like he promised to be Karuha's daddy, promised to like protect her or whatever the fuck, like back when they were at like kindergarten or something, right after Karuha lost her dad. The problem with that is that we can't even be sure if those memories from back then are actually the real deal. Because like Takumi himself did not remember them, so who's to say we actually live those things? Right? Everything past the dog point makes sense, right? But we can't even be sure if those memories are actually real or if they're just fake info that's like being sent into our minds. And if my clone theory is like not my clone theory, it's just like a theory that's in the air. I don't endorse that theory too much. But if the clone theory is actually real, then what if those are like experiences from other Takumis that are like coming to us from some sort of like hive mind of sorts? Oh my god. Anyway, she knew her memories would be wiped in the TRC, so it's unlikely that she's tricking us as Nozomi. Yes. She also seems to remember Kamakura General Hospital, and also, yeah, she remembers her mother being dead, and Takumi does not remember that. So again, all these characters, they lost different pieces of their minds, and she remembers Kamakura General Hospital, which goes into her whole maybe role as a spy who like knows a little bit of the plan that Syria has and is trying to intercept it some way. I don't know. We lost him. Yeah, you did. You did, guys. So, alternative ending. I definitely want to talk about this. For those of you who don't know, at the beginning of the game, we had a point where we had a choice in the game. We had a choice of whether or not we would save Karuha or not. And as a writer, my instincts were telling me to pick the option no, because the option yes is so obvious that every single player would pick it. So I was curious what would happen at picking no. So I chose not to use Hemo Anima and not save Karawa. And let me tell you something. There is no such thing as a throwaway fourth wall break in a Kawasaki Kodaka game. I've learned my lesson and I'm not being fooled again. I swear to God, I've fallen into the same pit so many times and I keep getting bamboozled by this goddamn writer. And it's not gonna happen again. So, if I choose the option no, Siri gets mad at Takumi for refusing to save Karawa. He asks if he'll give the game a bad review and ask for a refund. Does that mean Takumi consented to being here? Was the TRC a giant game? What the actual fudge? Like, brother, like, did Takumi pay for this? Did Takumi fucking pay for this? Like, what? What the hell is happening? This is one of the, I'm actually like pissed at myself that I chose that option at the beginning, because now that I know this ending actually is a thing, it doesn't leave my mind. It keeps lingering on my brain every single time I come up with theories, because this contradicts so much. So I kind of like, if this is like if Takumi actually paid for this and it is actually some sort of simulated game that he consented to play, and is this entire story basically an extended version of that one Rick and Morty bit where Morty plays an extremely immersive alien VR game and lives a completely different virtual life and then completely forgets about real life because he believed the game was his actual life, having an existential crisis when he dies in the game and wakes up just to realize his last 60 years of life, where he married, had kids, and beat cancer, were actually in reality a couple of seconds inside of a hyper-realistic video game. I swear to fucking Christ, dude. If that is the route this game is going, I'm gonna lose my shit. Oh, but seriously, like, if this is actually some sort of game, then what other explanation could it possibly have? Like, and Siri was even like, dude, you passed the test, congratulations. Like, what the fuck? And that would even explain the pods. Like, maybe the pods are actually the game. Or actually, like, the TRC game. And they consented to it. Ah, my god, this is so fucked. Anyway. So, here's like my take on 8, which I think is like one of the most interesting ones. Well, I guess I get more into it in the conclusion of the theory, which is the next slide. But yeah, it's very possible that there's someone working as a spy for world dev inside our very group, disguised as one of the invaders. As one of the defenders. The likeliest option would be Eito. He's also the prime suspect for knocking Takumi out with the pipe before Nigo found him. Like he wanted that to happen. Right? Almost as if it was part of a script. Because let's not forget, when the refrigerator burned, Eito was the one who was like, hey, we should go in groups outside and explore for resources. He was the one to suggest the idea. And he chose the groups as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if Eito was the one who struck us with the pipe and left us in the perfect scenario for Nigo to find us. Almost as if he's working together with Nigo. Right? Eito was the one who stopped Hiruko from telling the truth the day before she disappeared. And also the one who found Siri's hat. In that case, is Eito actually one of the higher-ups, or is he a complete third party? Like, we cannot scratch that possibility. Like, it definitely makes sense that he would be working together with them. It definitely makes sense that, like, World Def would have a spy inside of the academy, like, to ensure that things would go smoothly. But why would he, like, kill Siri? Why would he kill Siri? Hello, Volcano. What is up? we're just theorizing here. Welcome to the stream. So, it's so weird, right? It's so weird that okay, goodbye. You just came here to Nya. Based. Enjoy yourself. The live title should have been Madman Yapping. It could have been so many things, man. Oh my god. My throat is actually burning from how much I'm speaking. Like, yeah, um, so Ato could be a third party, but then, like, what is his goal here as a third party? Because it definitely makes sense that he would team up with Siri and company, but why would he kill Siri? Unless, like, Siri itself, like, was meant to die and his death was part of the script, right? And that would even, like, explain why he would be, why he would disappear with Hiroko. Because, like, Hiroko was the one who, like, went there to see, like, the scraps of, Siri inside a trash can. So, like, she was actually, sus from the beginning, so... What if what if he actually, like, disappeared with her as a means to, like, keep himself undercover or something? Because maybe Hiroko was suspecting the idea of a spy. It's so weird. I don't think he is a third party. I think I'm more fond of the idea that he's working together with Siri and Nigo, because it does make a lot of sense. And he is also an agent of World Death. But I don't know exactly what his full role in this is. I don't think he's just a spy. It might even be the leader of them, right? He does say he has some sort of sickness, right? He like says he lived his entire life in a hospital. But what exactly is that sickness? And whenever we get into conflict, or like we start arguing among ourselves, he feels some sort of like pinching inside of him, almost like his condition is like attacking. So I don't know exactly what his condition is and what it entails. And I don't even know if he's making it up. Maybe it's like something just to make us feel sorry for him. And he's also one of the smartest characters. Like, Ato might just be the smartest character in our group. I'm so confused on what's happening. See you later, goodbye. Yeah, this is not something easy to jump into. Arsonist and Zubida, I don't know how you two are here. Even as slides notes, we can witness the stages of the subject losing his mind. Pretty much. His overly flowery attitude, trying to have everyone working together as a team, would make a lot of sense if he was working in favor of World Death. Yeah, exactly. Trying to make them join forces, be friendly, and even like the stuff with the barbecue, trying to like really deepen their bonds, would make sense because if they are like strong friends that are working toward the same goal, that would eventually further their plan of extermination. It would ensure extermination goes smoothly, exactly. If so, then, like, that's the problem. Like, that's the problem. If he is, like, trying to exterminate humans, why did he choose to hold that commander captive? Why did he decide? He was the one who gave the idea. Why did he decide to keep that commander prisoner? That commander was a human. We should have killed it. It's so weird. He was the one that suggested. Also, why do we have cages in the courtyard? Is keeping prisoners part of the script? Now, this is where it gets crazy. Is keeping prisoners part of the script? Because if it is, if this is part of the script, then oh boy, this gets saucy. Because if keeping prisoners is part of the script, what if the invaders we're keeping are actually going to be the next set of fighters tricked by the agents of World Death into doing their bidding? They are human and can use hemo-anima after all. But if so, what is the end goal of the plan? Are there humans in other planets that need to be exterminated? What the fuck is actually going on? I do love the idea that captured commanders could be the next defenders. Like, I actually fucking love that idea. And I think that definitely has some potential, because otherwise, why would we keep invaders? Why would it keep commanders, sorry? What is the point in that? I mean, for Ato's perspective, if Ato, like, based on the fact that Ato is some sort of spy and is working with Nigo and Sire towards human extermination, why else would they keep why else would they keep the commanders captive? It makes no sense unless these captives are eventually gonna become fighters as well and also be gaslighted into protecting the academy. This presentation is training for FBI qualifications on the strong remain. It's my Russian spy training or something. Pretty much, guys. Pretty much. So, that's kind of where my mind's at. So let's conclude this thing. What is the takeaway from this whole spiral into madness? Hang on. I had some snot in my throat. The TRC is half real, half simulated. Sire used the simulated TRC to gaslight us into killing invaders, who are actually aliens who teamed up with the remaining humans. Sire and Nigo are agents of world death. Humans evacuated into another planet, but these students were captured and had their minds partially erased. The defense room is guarding something to destroy humanity and possibly this planet along with it. Despite the earthly looking buildings, there isn't any recognizable human language in the ruins and debris. I looked at every single video, every single CG, every I even looked at the song titles we've unlocked so far. I couldn't find any the song titles wouldn't help with that, but on the CGs and on the videos, I couldn't find any human language in the debris, not in any of the signs, any of posters, anywhere, nothing. I couldn't find absolutely anything that resembled human language, pointing to the idea that this is not actually Earth, right? Karuha knew about her memory loss beforehand. Nozomi isn't tricking us. Nozomi is not tricking us. It makes no sense that she is. She's definitely hiding things, but it's for the greater good. And I don't know exactly what her plans are, but maybe she's trying to intercept the plans that Siri has. But then again, why would she want to be scouted by Siri? It makes no sense. Something weird is up with Nozomi, but the bottom line is that she is not tricking us. She's legit. Neither her or Hiruko know the full truth. The mechanical moon is potentially the TRC itself or some sort of base for the agents of world death. The pods in the academy are where they experience the simulated TRC. Ato is surrounded with weird coincidences linking him to world death and the disappearance of Hiruko and Siri. He might be the leader of the extermination plan. His class weapon is quite literally a scythe. He's the embodiment of death. If Ato is actually an agent of world death, wouldn't it make sense that he would have a fucking scythe as his weapon? Are you guys seeing this shit? His weapon is a goddamn scythe. It makes too much sense. It makes too much sense. I even pointed out during the game, oh, hey, he has a scythe as a weapon. I wonder if that means something. And now I'm fucking losing my shit. Jesus Christ. So yeah, I guess that kind of tells you where I'm at with this theory. I love how this is just a summary of an hour of yapping. Total Bozo Sierra this morning, 5 or something. Jesus Christ. Uh, all right. So this is the conclusion, but then we have a backup theory. So don't worry, we're not done. We have a backup theory. If we assume that this is a backup theory based on like a thought I had. So let's say that the humans did evacuate Earth. Let's say that did happen, but they did not go to a single planet. They went to several different planets. This backup theory kind of plays off of that idea, and some interesting stuff kind of happens if you tunnel down into it. If we assume that humanity scattered through the universe and started living in many different planets, it's plausible that the agents of world death are exterminating them one by one. If so, they probably use the same technique every time, implementing the academy system and gaslighting humans into defending them until the weapon of mass destruction fully charges. That would explain the academy back in the Tokyo residential complex in a simulated version. It would explain why Hideko fought beforehand. It would explain so many things. They capture a number of humans during each extermination the commanders were holding captive and use them as defenders on their next planet. Right? That's where that idea plays into. They might even stuff them inside the pods and transport them back to the moon base when the extermination is complete, explaining why the strange pods are in the academy. However, if there have been so many exterminations before, that would mean that the students who we know might have not even lived with a Japanese-speaking human, since it's been so long since then. Humans in this planet we are living, they don't know Japanese. They cannot communicate with us, implying that it's been a hell of a long time since they lived in a Tokyo residential complex with the Japanese-speaking people, to the point that they completely forgot the language and cannot comprehend us. For all we know, these students might have been commanders in other planets that were captured and brainwashed into the defenders we're controlling now. That would imply that their memories and the whole TRC they experienced is, in fact, simulated. Now this gets crazy, because this plays super into the idea I said before, that the TRC that the students lived in and the TRC that the rest of humanity lived in is completely different, right? These students, like, if they were commanders from other planets, they might have not even seen the actual TRC. The TRC they lived was just a simulation made by Siri and company. Their entire lives are a complete lie, just mimicking real events and painting them as the chosen ones, because they are not the original Himo Anima subjects, but rather descendants of them, sharing the same blood, just like the commanders were fighting. We're perpetuating a cycle without even realizing. This is, like, insane. I kind of love this backup theory, because, like, if this is right, like, if we're actually commanders from other planets that were, like, captured and brainwashed into serving Siri, right? Like, this makes all the sense in the world. And it would make sense that they would create this Tokyo residential complex where we are the chosen ones, where we are, like, the kids with the special blood that works well with Himo Anima. But in actuality, we are not these kids. We are descendants of the actual kids. But since the Tokyo residential complex was all simulated, that means they could have done all sorts of things. All sorts of things. They could have faked the entire lives we lived. And that's probably what they did in that case. Isn't that insane? Isn't that fucking insane? So yeah. I guess that's it. I I don't even know what to say. Like, you know, peak theory crafting. Thank you. Dude. Like, I must, like, you know what sucks about this? You know what sucks about this? I like the presentation. It was nice listening to you. Thank you, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. You were probably so lost. So you know what the worst thing about this is? Like, this game has 100 endings. So, like, anything is possible. And, like, what if I get the ending where, like, all the students turn into giraffes or something? Like, then this entire thing goes to butt. Like, like, what is the point of all this if I get that ending? And it's certainly a possibility. At this point, anything is possible. And that's kind of what makes this so interesting to theorize about, because I still don't know how the game is gonna handle the multiple endings and how different they're gonna be from each other. But, like, I might, like, the two theories I have, like, a bunch of theories might actually be real, like, in different endings. And that's kind of what's crazy about it, and one of the things I love about theorizing it in this game. But I do think, okay, I do think the idea that we are not on Earth, that this is a foreign planet and the invaders are aliens is fire. I love that theory. Ato being an agent of World F is also an interesting theory. I love that. What else? Yeah, the Tokyo residential complex being at least partially simulated. Definitely love that. The idea of the captive commanders being the future defenders, I am in love with that too. But yeah, I think I do have something here. And whether or not I'm right, I guess we're gonna find out. So guys, I'm not even sure if I can stream. Like, I need to go to work. I will say I was not expecting this to go for so long. We've been here for 2 hours. We've been here for 2 fucking hours talking about shit. And there's still elements I haven't mentioned. Like, we haven't gotten into the reasons why like the Tokyo residential complex security division was like hiding facts about the real world. They were covering up the elements from the surface. We didn't dive into what else we didn't talk about. Yeah, I can't like pick them off of the top of my head, but there's definitely things we haven't gone over, and still, like, we've been talking for 2 hours. Well, hey, at least it was fun. Yeah, I mean, I wish I could play the game, but, like, I'm very tired, and also I need to go to work. Man, but yeah, I promise you guys, I looked into every single one of the videos here and of the CGs. And none of them have actually like Japanese text or like any human language text in them when it comes to the ruins of this world. The only places we find Japanese language are inside the Tokyo residential complex, like here, for example, in the Kamakura General Hospital, and in the Last Defense Academy. This is like the only 2 places where we see Japanese text. implying that this planet isn't actually Earth, right? I had fun this stream. I had fun this stream listening to Tavin's descent further into insanity. Generally has become my favorite hobby. You guys are sadists. Man, I hope you don't need to voice for your job. Well, I work as a retail banker, so sometimes I have to talk to customers. So that might be bad. I feel like every one of his streams is like that, a little bit to an extent. Kind of. It's just that I get too into things. I get too into the things I play. Anyway, guys, yeah, I'm gonna call it right here. Next time we're actually gonna play the game. We're gonna be jumping like straight into it. We're not gonna like stall too much next time. But this was definitely a fun little journey. I'm glad I got those thoughts out because this game just won't leave my mind. I've been thinking about it almost 24/7 at this point. I'm pretty sure I even dreamed about this. I even dreamed about this once. So yeah, I'm pretty much obsessed. And one of the things I love about this is how much it's bringing in me the same Danganronpa vibe. Because Danganronpa is my favorite series of all time, and just the fact that, like, playing this game has made me realize how much I missed Danganronpa. Like, this is special to me, and it's something that I will not be able to experience again in a long time. So I definitely want to take my time with it and experience it to the fullest, right? So I want to theorycraft. I want to take things slowly. I want to explore alternatives and different scenarios. I want to take this slowly and just get the full experience, if you know what I mean. You know you're cooked when you're dreaming about it. Anyways, I had fun. See you next stream. Have a good day or night. Thank you so much, you guys, for listening to me lose my mind. And I'll catch you tomorrow, maybe. Tomorrow we have another Omori stream. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. Have fun at work and rest. See you all next time. Same. Goodbye, everyone. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.